We're going to be running through how to reach 1 million people with animal influencers. My name's Colleen. I am the founder of Pets on Cue. We've been around for almost 8 years now. We represent and work with thousands of animal talent across the world, mostly in the US. And I'm going to be running through how to work with these influencers, running through what's happening with the influencer market right now, how to find the right animal talent and book that animal talent, and overall what everyone comes for is how to reach that 1 million+ audience when working with influencers. Okay, so Gabe on my team will also be joining, and just waiting for him to join now. So overall, what's going on in the marketplace is basically that over the past 2 years, the market has completely boomed because of COVID. So people were out of work and at home. And there are more creators. 52% of the creators now has started within the past 2 years. And overall, in the creator marketplace, there's 165 million content creators or influencers. So my term content creator and influencer is a little bit different. But influencers, when you can influence someone to purchase a product, a content creator is someone that's creating cool content and posting it online. So that can start at 1,000 followers and go all the way up to millions of followers. And that a creator economy has boomed. So much so that in 2021, there was over 800 million raised for creator platforms. And it's really just because that 83% of purchasers or people that are on social media are making decisions based on what they're seeing online. If there are large trends that are happening, like the mop bucket that went crazy viral on TikTok, now everyone has one of those. Scrub Daddy had a great example of a campaign that went viral. A lot of pet food brands as well have gone crazy viral because of social media. Influencer marketing is way more cost effective than other forms of advertising like TV marketing and so on. So it is a great place for you to get brand awareness and get your product out there as well. Okay. So for marketers, the spend by platform has changed. And so I can move myself so you guys can see the full screen. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, and if you need me to get off of the screen, let me know. And here is Gabe.
Gabe. Hello, everybody.
Okay, so the market spend by platform, as you can see here, the dark blue is Instagram. And that has been very consistent for a long time because that is what was driving a lot of purchasing power. And sorry, my thing keeps popping up. And then where you can see that the pink is TikTok and how that has been increasing. I do predict this to get even higher and Instagram actually to come down a bit. YouTube has gone down, but overall has been very consistent for a long time because YouTubers tend to be a bit more expensive than other platforms. They can reach a larger audience on a TikTok and an Instagram with a budget than you can on YouTube. But YouTube does have a great conversion rate. So I wouldn't kind of kick that one out just yet. Facebook has gone down a lot, but not a crazy amount because Instagram and Facebook are kind of linked now. I would predict that Facebook's going to continue to go down. Instagram's going to go down a little bit, and TikTok and YouTube will probably go up. Okay. If there's a screen to screenshot, it would be this one. This is the influencer industry averages as a whole. So the type of influencers, nano influencers are 1,000 to 10,000, micro are 10,000 to 50,000 followers, mid-tier influencers 50,000 to 500,000 followers, macro influencers 500,000 to 1 million, and mega influencers are influencers where accounts that have over 1 million followers that are reaching a very large audience. Now, this is industry standard for human influencers. And I do want to point out that pet influencers are 35% less in value to brands. Just because more people view pet content, there are less conversions and less ROI on a brand. So if a human influencer gets 1 million views versus a pet influencer getting 1 million views, the pet influencer is going to have a lower conversion rate. So that's why they're 35% less than a human influencer. But overall, you're going to get much larger exposure with pet influencers. They're less expensive and a much larger reach. So I personally am biased and I think it's a better bang for your buck. But I'm happy to answer any questions about this at the end as well. Okay. And here's pricing examples from a very large campaign that we've done. I would say a lot of influencer campaigns can be a lot less than this. This is really just an example. Some can be $1,500 a month. Others can be, over $10K, $60K, depending on what a campaign is. This particular one, it was a video post on Instagram with 2 stories, reposting on TikTok, and creating UGC content for the brand to repost. It included whitelisting. And the reposting is just the licensing right to be able to do that and use the content for whatever purposes as well. So influencer 1 has basically how we break it down is based on the quality audience and the fan base. And this is really just to explain to you that they are very different things. And it really has to do overall with the engagement rate of the audience that they're already hitting. So influencer 1 has 1 million followers on Instagram, 2.7 million on TikTok. They hit a 9% engagement rate. Their quality audience that they're reaching is around 3.2 million people. So their price point is going to be higher than the typical influencer. So where they're priced out as a pet influencer is around $9,000. And we can see that's an average price point for an influencer of that size. We think that that's actually a pretty good influencer for a brand to work with. Influencer 2, 75,000, 20,000 on TikTok, engagement rate of 3.75%. That is above influencer industry average for a pet influencer. So that's good. The quality audience that they're hitting is around 50,000 per post. That's a great audience. And they're priced at $150 for all of this content. Now that is a great deal for a brand. We recognize that. And that would basically be a huge recommendation that we would give over to a brand looking to work with an influencer. Influencer 3 has 125,000 followers and 1,000 followers on TikTok. So it's kind of in between the two. But overall, their quality audience isn't good because their engagement rate's at 1%, meaning they're really only hitting 20,000 people and they want $20,000 for this campaign. Be someone that we would not recommend for this campaign because they're just overpriced for it. They're above the amount of audience that you're going to reach, and it is not really a great value for the amount of money spent. Okay.
Yeah. So in the examples that Colleen had just shown, from a brand's perspective, definitely, finding the right influencers is definitely key. And oftentimes it is a challenge. So that's certainly the priority. And I'd say from the past, with the rise of social media, there's definitely been a rise in influencer fraud that's kind of been on the come up. So the ability to spot fake followers is definitely key, seeing which accounts are actually getting engaged in, and actually being with real accounts. And, some accounts also have a higher engagement rate if they have, just a recent video that went viral recently. So as opposed to consistent across the board is kind of what we really like to look for. But some other issues definitely that brands see are things like knowing how to price influencers out properly, and knowing how to convert those viewers directly into sales alone. And typically, that's ultimately the end goal, but definitely finding a way to making sure that, you're hiring influencers for what they're worth and utilizing your budget correctly.
There was a study done that said that influencers, hiring a bad influencer on average can cost a brand over $300 per bad influencer hired. So it is really important to make sure that you get kind of some of these things right if you're a brand looking to hire a pet influencer. Gabe, it says you're a little quiet. I had issues with my headphones too. Just heads up.
Okay. Better speaker.
Yeah. Okay. So finding the right animal talent and identifying your brand niche for a campaign. My best example that I can give this is like, where is your audience? Where is your audience going? So if you are an REI and you're looking for people that are hiking and are going to buy camping equipment and whatnot, those people tend to be following other outdoorsy influencers. So people that are doing long hikes and taking this type of content. So this would be the style of influencer that you're looking to hire. Then they can take this content and reuse it on their social because it also matches what their social is. So there's those two things. Where is your audience and what is your social media and what is your marketing play overall? So here are the biggest categories that we have of influencers. So we have the outdoorsy, we have the fashion or home decor influencers that take pictures inside their house, or it's just they like to dress up their pets. It's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Similar to minimalist, but minimalist is very whites, creams, beiges, very light content, great influencers to work with. It's really usually high quality photo and video content. Commercial influencers are accounts that are a little bit more colorful, very fun and playful. They'll take a lot of pictures, like as you can see in this account. It's just a very colorful, this is an ad, very colorful account. They're very fun, informative account. So for example, this is a therapy cow who, is explaining what it's like to be a therapy cow, explaining what it's like a day in the life to have a cow. Or this woman who has her dog that's a food allergy detection dog that keeps her safe. She'll post training videos, whatnot. Those are more of a storytelling, educational, informative influencers. And then our trendsetters, which tends to be a very, very popular category. Right now, those are the accounts that are going crazy viral. You tend to get a little bit more bang for your buck with them. They're very funny. They'll just follow trends and help you get involved in the trend as well. Okay, the next thing is for you to identify your needs as a brand. Overall, are you looking to have a larger public know who your brand is and grow your audience? Are you looking to grow your social media following? Or are you looking for direct sales for your product? It could be a combination of all three, but if you're looking primarily for one of them, it would change the type of strategy that we have. And that kind of leads us into what's next. And can you hear the sound here? Sorry about that. If you can, I can pause it. But the campaign type, which would be if you're doing a giveaway, if you're doing affiliate partnership, if you're doing a post or free product, if you're doing just an overall contest or a paid influencer campaign, the campaign type is going to change what your budget is. The size of the influencer, from micro or nano influencer, mid-tier influencer, all the way up to mega influencers, depending on the size of the account, will also potentially change the budget. The platform and the scope of work. The platform would be if you're doing a TikTok versus YouTube, Instagram, or a combination of them, or if you're looking for one video versus 4 videos, UGC and whatnot, that's also going to change the price point. And like, it really is determining what you need and then filling in kind of the rest. Exclusivity, if you don't want them to be posting, I don't know why this is pausing like that. If you don't want them to be posting content of a competitor of yours, you want to keep them exclusive to you for the next. Oh, the Eventbrite was incorrect. MK. MK, can you help with that? So we'll post this then if people had a problem getting into that as well. And then for licensing, if you need to reuse that content for your own social media purposes, you can have a regular usage rights, being able to post on social media, all the way up to full-blown commercial rights. You just have to identify that and go into that with into the contract and into before you're kind of getting full pricing back from that influencer. Eric or Mary Kate, can you go into all the platforms and make sure that the link is correct? Because I think that's where Gabe and I went in initially, and that was not correct. So we can't do that again. Okay, Gabe, sorry.
Yeah, so what we found is, typically for successful campaigns, successful castings, that the process typically takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Typically with step number 1 we touched on earlier with finding the right influencers, and typically we'll get over your scope of work, what exactly you're looking for, what platform you're looking to push your product on or your brand. Send that over to out to influencers. Typically when it takes a little bit of a process to make sure you're weeding out the right ones to, that quite fit the guidelines on as a brand, as you're looking for the perspective that you're looking for, and looking to fulfill, to push your product on whatever particular social that might be. And then getting that contract fulfilled, signed before all the products are sent out. That way, all the back end stuff's already taken care of. They know the creative brief. They know what to deliver for you, whether it might be, one Instagram reel cross-posted to TikTok, and vice versa, or just a story. That all comes into play here. And from there, the last couple weeks is typically, where the exciting stuff happens, where the posting happens, where you'll start to see the numbers hopefully come in from there, whether it might be, a partnership or an affiliate program. If, they're pushing a particular product, the traffic will start to come in, and and you'll be able to see the analytics and kind of review everything from there. It typically takes 4 to 6 weeks in full.
And overall, it's a very difficult process to kind of go through each one, and it can be time consuming. But yeah, that's a great job, Gabe. Everyone's having a hard time hearing you now.
Oh, even
harder time. I might just have to take.
Is that louder? A little bit closer, maybe.
I don't know what's happening. So, okay, while we figure that out, I'll kind of continue. So, if you are a brand looking, there are three main ways that you work with animal talent. So, number one is you hire other marketing professionals to come in and manage the entire campaign process from start to finish. You work and you will post on your own website and on other websites to basically have a casting call, or like with us, we call them a casting call that goes out to our thousands of influencer talent, and they apply to work with you. So you review influencers, then you send out the product when they apply and when you approve them. And number three is going through and you book animal talent. You want to book it on your own. You want to run into the platform, look at the analytics and send out offers directly and do everything on your own, which is completely fine. We offer service with that with animal influencers, all of these things we do offer. But yeah, so those are the three main ways that you can work with animal talent here. And if anyone is only finding us now, I might need to have to start over or answer all these questions at the end. I'm so sorry. We had that issue. So this is kind of the big slide of how to reach an audience of 1 million. And if you were here in the beginning, the nano and micro influencers are accounts from 1,000 to 50,000. So on a full campaign, in order to reach 1 million people or an audience of 1 million, you're really working with 20 to 100 different influencers to hit that. Mid-tier and macro influencers are between 2 and 20. I would say between 10 and 15 influencers that we typically work with in this range on this type of campaign. And to hit 1 million followers, mega influencers can be 1 or more, depending on what it is. But the big thing to keep in mind is here's like followers, engagement rate, 1%, 2.75%, and 5%. So I'm kind of pulling a few different options for you to kind of see the huge difference for working with influencers. So this small black line on the bottom, that in the blue line, that represents the nano and micro influencer. So the black line is 10,000 followers, blue line is 50,000 followers. And then I jump up to some of the mid-tier with 100,000 and 250,000. So you can see the huge jump from 1% to 5%. At 250,000 followers, you're getting pretty close to 250,000 audience at 5% engagement rate, which meaning you're hitting a large audience there. And this is kind of the standard for pet influencers right in the middle. That engagement rate is really the most important part. If you are at 1 million followers and you have a 1% engagement rate, you're really not hitting a quality audience of 200,000. So something to really keep in mind if you're working with influencers, to make sure you're not just hiring the influencers with big numbers, you're hiring the influencers that have a quality audience that are in turn going to buy your products. It's a huge waste of your money and waste of your time if you go through this whole process and you hire an influencer that doesn't hit an audience that you're paying for. So that's really what it comes down to, is to making sure that working with an influencer specifically, that they have a good engagement rate, or that if they have a 1% engagement rate and 1 million followers, that you're paying for the audience that you're getting instead of the audience or follower count or fake followers that they actually have. Because that's a lot of fluff to make up for, in the million, which is the red mark, from 1 million to under 200,000, where you're getting that when you have a really high engagement rate, like the first account I showed you on a few slides ago. But yeah, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I'll be going through questions at the end as well. So we can kind of run back through this or go back to any past slides if you had we posted the wrong link. So that's on our bad. So I'm going to answer some questions, or I can let me actually just run into our booking platform and how we actually find the influencers within our network. So just X out of that one. And then this is internally what our platform looks like. So feel free to ask any questions here, and then I can kind of run through a few scenarios of what we do. Yeah, so this is one of the influencers I was kind of showing before that has over a, great engagement rate. They could hit, 12K on a post of value for a brand. They charge a lot less than that. This is just really for the value for you to see how much and how large of an audience they have. they on average will get around 100,000 likes per post. And that doesn't mean the amount of views or the amount of impressions on the video as well. That's the actual people that are engaging with the content that they have. They can kind of range between 50,000 all the way up to millions of likes on something. So that's just a general average of how their posts perform. And if you're looking for an audience of female versus male and all of this fun stuff. So these are all of the little factors that keep in mind with us when we're looking to hire an influencer, put an influencer on a campaign working with a brand. Yeah. And then here is our influencer search tool that we can kind of zoom in and see specific influencers. And I just went into a small box to see some of the influencers that we have. And then I can pull up, based on the engagement rate where they're at, see how many followers they have, how many, here's Hotkey again. So I'll just pull them up and see how high they are here, which is great. And then you can kind of pull up and see or add them to a campaign, whatnot. You can kind of add, I probably shouldn't be showing that, but that's that. Do I ever work in the UK market? Yes, we do have influencers in the UK market, and we have worked with brands in the UK. The majority of brands that we work with want to do US-based influencers, but we do have audiences, and we do have brands in the UK as well, and we can search by that in country. Here, so that's kind of what we do. Yeah. MK, can you see any other questions on our LinkedIn too? Or I should probably go back to the beginning of this guy and represent stuff because I think we missed a few people here in what's going on in the marketplace. Are there any other questions? And I'm really sorry for people that we had the wrong link for this. So, or am I in the wrong? Okay, can I explain the differences between the sizes of influencers? Let's go over to that slide. Oops. Sorry. So a mega influencer has over 1 million followers. Macro influencers is from 500,000 to 1 million. Mid-tier influencers is 50,000 to 500,000. Micro influencers, 10,000 to 50,000 followers. Nano influencers, 1,000 to 10,000. So you'll hear a lot of people say, I want to do a micro influencer campaign. And that's kind of within this range. So some people consider that under 100,000. Some people consider that, over 10,000. So we usually tend to group micro and nano together. And sometimes we're able to include some mid-tier influencers if they're priced correctly. We're going to post this and make it live. So if you want to email anyone on our team, we're going to post it on our YouTube, the full one, when we didn't realize that people couldn't have access to it. We'll edit that down and post it today or tomorrow and give you the entire link. And yeah, so we're recording it and we can send it an email as well. So if you want to put your email in here, someone on our team can grab it and send it over to you. And I will happily answer any questions that you have now because I don't think that many people got this, but I'm really, really sorry about that. But I think the most important slide on here, so I'm going to actually go over to, well, that's an important one too. Sorry for the quick slide change here. That if you're looking to do an influencer campaign, that this is really the one that hits home of, the 1% versus the 5% or higher engagement rate. I mean, we have influencers that have a 0.5% engagement rate that are really charging for the standard of where they're at. Back on the pricing sheet, they'll say, well, I have 100,000 followers, so my price is 1,000. Like, actually, pet influencers are 35% less. So cut that down. You're in the 600-ish range. And then on top of that, because your engagement rate is so low, your value to a brand is actually much less. So we basically base our calculations around those two really big things. So yes, follower count, engagement rate is huge, and what the quality audience is. So it's not an easy thing now where, 100,000 is $1,000. It hasn't been that way for a while. what kind of services PestNQ provide to hit over 1 million? So we do have packages. So we have a $1,500 package that's more of a micro and nano influencer campaign, where we will basically work with as many influencers as possible until we hit 1,500. And then we also go up to a $2,500 campaign and a $5,000 campaign. And we can do that for 1 month or one campaign, or we can do that a multi-month package. So it really just depends on what you're looking for. That would be more of us managing everything for you. You tell us what your criteria is, and then we go out and get the influencers for you. Or Gabe and MK on my team. That's right. There you go. I mean, we could do, a lot of people right now are really loving contests and giveaways. And we've been testing out that with our micro and mid-tier influencers and nano influencers. And that's been going really well for a lot of brands. I think a lot of people are getting away from paying the mega influencers the big bucks. It's definitely not gone, but we've noticed a huge decrease because of the increase in creators. There's too much in the market for them to justify spending, hundreds of thousands and tens of thousands of dollars on these large influencers when they can get a variety of influencers that are newer at a lower price point, and they're still hitting a great audience. Yeah. Oh, we also offer, if you're looking for animal talent in person, like an appearance at an event or whatnot, or set work animals. So any in-person animal, we vet the set animals. And we also offer content creation with our influencers or production team if you're looking for content for your brand. What would you recommend starting out as a small brand? Gabe, I'm sorry that your mic, and I'm taking over this call, that your mic's not great right now.
Sorry if I'm quiet.
No, it's okay. So for a small brand, I would definitely recommend a package or agency model. So first, I would usually new companies will come to us with like a $1,500 to a $5,000 a month budget. And then we would basically do a 3-month package each month, rolling out different type of campaigns that past clients of ours that are similar have been successful. Or if you're looking to try something new, that's also something that we can accommodate. I do think that the post for free product and affiliate partnerships are definitely growing, but most influencers really just like the paid model. They like 90% of them want that. Some of them, it depends on the product that you have though. So it's kind of a loaded question, but we're happy to answer any questions. Gabe, you should probably put your Calendly link in here if you want to.
Yes.
Oh, you can. Here are some of the questions that we've answered. Sorry. Let's answer this one. How does quality audience affect an influencer's pricing? It significantly affects their pricing. Let's say we have 2 influencers that have 1 million followers, and one of them is at a 9% engagement rate and the other one's at a 0.7% engagement rate. At 0.7 or 1% engagement rate, they're not even hitting a quality audience of, 100 to 200,000 people that are going to view the posts that they do. Whereas the 9%, they're almost going to hit 1 million audience, especially if it goes viral. So, or it could go much higher. You have a much higher likelihood with that influencer that it could be, a 10 million plus account. We lost Gabe. 10 million plus viewed account. Oh, here we go. There you go. There you go, Gabe. That is a huge factor when working with pet influencers, and the price point of an account that's at 10,000, the value for you is much higher. They could be pricing out exactly the same because all they see is how much do I charge as an influencer with 1 million followers? But for a brand, you do not want to be paying them the same amount. And you're always going to go with the influencer that has the higher engagement rate if they are the same amount. Or what I would recommend is always go with the one with the higher engagement rate, because the fans are more engaged. You also want to be careful of pods. And if they're only the same people and other influencers posting on each other's page, it's like really just the same influencers that are doing the exact same thing over and over again. You're really not hitting a real audience. It's another form of fake followers too. So that's, yeah. Okay. I feel like, the chat. Does Pets on Cue assist with the whole campaign? We can. Okay, let's see if your mic works on this one. We definitely can assist with it. We have an agency model, we have packages, and so like contests, whatnot, where our team will run everything. If you're looking to hire one influencer specifically or a variety of influencers, that's something that we manage. We'll do it from start to finish, but you also have the option to do it yourself. Or to hire the influencer on our platform yourself. And it basically takes our entire process and makes it simple for you to walk through everything. So, but we can assist and do an agency or package model.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Colleen?
I can. This is much better.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. Just to touch on that, totally. It's definitely a preference thing, depending on your comfortability. If you did want to hold a helping hand throughout most of the process, we definitely can do that as far from start to finish, kind of how we touched on that 4 to 6 week process where, we even handle all the contractual things and start to weed out the influencers for yourself. But if you definitely wanted to be more hands-on as well, you had the ability to see who's applying, look at each applicant, even build relationships with them yourself, depending on your preference. But totally, I think it just depends on, if this is, if you're new to the, pet space and looking to get involved in somehow, or if you wanted to try out our services full time, things like that.
Okay. What is a casting call and how will that help my brand or agency? So a casting call is basically putting your scope of work and what you're looking to do from the influencers. And a casting call for us is that we blast it out to the thousands of influencers that we have, or pet influencers specifically, and have them apply to you. And then you would look through and say, okay, this influencer has this engagement rate, or something that our team will do internally and give our recommendations within your budget, saying, hey, here are the 15 influencers that applied, or 50 influencers that applied. Out of that 50, there were 15 that were solid applicants within your budget. Here is the list. This is what we recommend within your budget. Yeah, then we just break down the analytics there and we do that all for you, unless you guys are doing your own casting call. Yeah. Do you have any other questions? I feel like I could hide the screen. How can I repurpose content from influencers? Content from these influencers can be basically anything from owned by you, where you basically pay them to have the product, and you can do whatever you want with it at that point. Or then you have no rights to it. They just post on their social media, whitelist their product, meaning boosting their product on their page. You could repost the product. So there's different charges for each of those things with some influencers. Other influencers offer it as a package deal. And then it can also go up to you having commercial rights, being able to reuse their content in marketing material at conferences, at events. All the way to worldwide rights, meaning you have other usage. So you can use it in commercials or post other things about it. Use it as a YouTube ad, use it as a Instagram ad to go out to people, and you can boost it and pay more then. Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm figuring out this new commented thing. If I have $5,000 to spend, what kind of influencers would you recommend? Think it would depend on your goals, depend on the type of influencer that you're looking for, and kind of what we went through throughout the slide, honestly, is the campaign size, the size of the influencer, the scope of work, exclusivity, and what those things would be. If I was running a specific campaign for my company right now, it would be for product awareness, and I would probably target the trend-setting influencers and let them kind of run with what they're looking for. If I, was spending $5,000 on an influencer campaign. But I would also really target influencers with the higher engagement rate. So the engagement rates of over 2.5%. Yeah, that would be what I would do right now. Would you recommend spending on Instagram and TikTok? Yeah. It depends on the audience that you're looking to get. So right now for me, I would probably be between both Instagram and TikTok. If you're looking for a younger audience and the potential to go more viral and having more bang for your buck, that would be TikTok. If you're looking to kind of keep it consistent and, go with what Instagram, or if you don't work on Instagram would probably be where I would go. So it really just depends on if you're looking for growth or follower count. Yeah, there's different recommendations that I would have based on the goals. But overall, right now, I would still stick, but right now I'm more focused on Instagram and TikTok than the other platforms. Do you work with all sides of brands and agencies? Yes, we've worked with some of the biggest brands in the world, from Budweiser, Mercedes, Nissan's, Home Depot, and big companies, Disney and Netflix and fun stuff, all the way to mom and pop shops. And honestly, I love working with small startups. I think that, working with influencers and small startups is always so much fun. And then you're working I love working with the owners. And they're just so passionate about what they do. And it's just such a different experience. And big agencies is like, they have a big agency that they work with and you have a bunch of people to go through, which is totally fine. I like all of them. How would you hire an animal for an appearance? If you're looking for a trick animal or a influencer to have their fans come to an event or an appearance, those are two different things for us. So we have vetted set animals that they're basically temperament tested. They go through a bunch of training. And when they approve that, then they're approved to be on our set animal list. And then for an influencer, we also want to make sure that they have a quality audience and that they're okay to be around an audience. So kind of two factors with influencers. For an appearance, and you can also pay them or not pay them, or give them stuff in exchange for coming to an event. Yeah. Okay. Is that all the questions? This was a great questions, guys. If I'm just getting started, what are my next steps? I would contact Gabe at petsonq.com. That's this one. And that would basically be where I would start, or go on to our website and kind of play around with it and see kind of what you're looking for. I would rewatch this, take notes on all that your brand's looking for, and let us know budgets and all of that fun stuff. And then we would basically just take it from there and help you through it. That's kind of a vague answer, but okay, so I think I'll wrap it up with there. Thank you guys so much for joining. And please just let us know if you have any questions. And I hope to see you on the next one. And I'm also, again, very sorry that we had the wrong link at the beginning. So we will be posting this and sending it out to everyone as well, and editing it down to get rid of all of that fluff content in between. So thank you all so much. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks, Gabe, for joining too.
Yeah, thank you guys. Gabe at Pets on Q to get started. So appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.